During the night, invaders launched attacks on Ukrainian territory using 4 Shahed drones in the Kirovorod region near Kryvyi Rih. According to the General Staff, all of these drones were shot down by anti-aircraft defense. Yesterday's Russian missile attack on a school facility in Sumy resulted in 1 person dead and 17 injured, according to the city council. The missile strikes on Zaporizhia caused 2 fatalities and 2 injuries. The attacks in the Sumy region damaged numerous residential buildings, including a school and student dormitories, resulting in 2 dead and at least 20 injured civilians. On the other hand, there was activity in Moscow, where drones targeted buildings in the IQ Quarter complex, which houses the Ministry of Digital Development, Ministry of Industry and Trade, and Ministry of Communications. According to available information, the attack damaged the 5th and 6th floors of this 50-story building, with no reported injuries. Russia accused Ukraine of the attack. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that 16 drones heading towards the Krasnoselivske airbase in Crimea were shot down, but local sources did not report this event. Northeastern Front. Ukrainian armed forces gradually regain control of the territory occupied by the Russians in their recent counteroffensive in this direction. During the past week, Ukraine liberated over 18 square kilometers towards Svatov. Russians still hold about 16 square kilometers occupied during their offensive operations in recent days. According to recent information, the Russians have withdrawn from Novorivka. It remains to be seen if the Russians have any reserves in the area or if they gave their all in the recent counterattack. Bakhmut Front. Ukrainian forces increase pressure on Russian defense lines on the northern flank of Bakhmut and intensify artillery fire. The occupiers attempted several counterattacks, but they failed to stop the Ukrainian advance. On the southern flank, Russian counterattacks in the vicinity of Klushchivka and Andriivka were also repelled. Ukraine continues to exert pressure, and the Russians have withdrawn behind the railway embankment, as predicted a few days ago. However, Ukrainian unit, Kraken, is operating east of the railway embankment, further complicating the situation for the Russians. Near Kurdimivka, Ukrainian forces managed to cross the canal and advanced to the outskirts of the village. Ukrainian forces also control all heights in the area, and heavy artillery fire continues in both directions. Donetsk Front. No major changes were recorded on this front. There are mostly attritional battles with no significant results for either side. Southeastern Front. Ukrainian armed forces encircle Urozhaini from 3 sides, and it seems that Ukrainians are at the northern borders of the village, with a larger part of the village towards the south being a no-man's land. Alexander Khodakovsky, commander of the pro-Russian separatist Vostok Battalion, claims that Ukrainians conducted several attacks on the village. He describes the deteriorating situation in Urozhaini due to its operational encirclement. Russian sources claimed yesterday evening that the occupiers managed to retake Staromayorsky, but we are certain that this event did not occur. However, this is a commonly used Russian propaganda tactic, where Russian propagandists try to create the impression that the fight is ongoing, even if it's not true. Under Staromayorsky, battles are ongoing, and Ukrainian forces are advancing slowly. Russian positions in Zabitny Bazana, south of Staromayorsky, are under fire, significantly complicating Russian logistics. During the day, Ukrainians managed to cut off the road between Novodonetsk and Kermenchik to the east of Urozhaini. We assume that if the Russians fail to launch a counterattack here, they will have to withdraw from Urozhaini to avoid being trapped. Zaporizhia Front. Ukrainians are expanding their front line towards Verbove and advancing further southeast from Robotyne. According to available information, Ukrainians have gained control of the road to Verbove, which could significantly complicate the situation for the Russians in the village. Ukrainian artillery is shelling Russian positions near Novoprokopivka. Near Kamyansky, Ukrainians are making small advances south of the city and pressing closer to Luhova. So far, it seems that Ukrainians have liberated about half of Kamyansky, and their positions are approximately 1 kilometer away from Lozova.